Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Nervous?
Yes.
First time?
No, I've been nervous lots of times.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and are you fighting a scarcity mindset where it's tough to imagine yourself having it all? Well, today, we're standing beside you and fighting back with special guest Leisa Peterson. Plus, in our headline, volatility in the stock market? Don't worry, because one company is going to join the parade of selling you alternative investments. Oh, man, I can't wait to see what OG thinks about this. We'll all hear together, I'm sure. Plus, we'll also hear today's trivia question from yours truly, and we'll share a TikTok minute that I'm sure will be a hit with all of your friends. And now, 2 guys who, when you say diversify, they say, how much, sir? It's Joe and OG.
Hey there, Stacker. Welcome to your Money Boot Camp this fine Wednesday. I am Joe Saul-Sehy, Hub 2 soldier, because the Commander-in-Chief is on his way into the barracks. Mr. OG is here. Straighten up.
What's happening?
Look alive. Would you like to inspire our troops?
What, I don't see where we're going with this.
Mr. OG? No?
Yeah, sorry.
Not at all. Not going to inspire anybody for money greatness today, everybody. We got a great Wednesday otherwise, though. Leisa Peterson's in the house.
That's the inspiration.
There it is.
Not me.
He's incapable of inspiring.
I'm perfectly good at perspiring. Is that okay?
He'd have a 20-minute pep talk just to get on the mic. We got a lot of work to do.
Slap myself in the morning. Like, let's do this.
We're gonna wake up at 0400 and have a locker box inspection.
The hell's a locker box?
Were you not afforded a place to keep your belongings in the Marines? Do you not even get like a locker box? Is a thing at the foot of your bed, your bunk?
You use some weird words. A locker box. Foot locker.
I'm quoting from Stripes. Yeah, Stripes.
Oh, those guys clearly knew. Army training, sir. They say that all the time.
Army training, sir.
It's like 6 weeks long. You get dessert.
You get what? You got a great weight loss program here, 6 to 8 weeks long, which is perfect for me.
Was that John Candy?
Yeah, that was John Candy.
Of course.
My doctor says I swallow a lot of aggression, along with a lot of pizzas.
That sounds like something your doctor would have said, Doug.
And I would have been the guy in the get to know you session in the barracks on the first night. I totally would have been that guy.
I didn't see this movie. I'm glad I
didn't see Stripes.
I think I would be.
I don't believe
infuriated.
Anybody that hasn't seen this old movie, this is fun. Bill Murray, John Candy,
John Landis was in it.
John Landis, and who was the other ghost? Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis.
Ramis.
I'm sorry. That's who I'm thinking of. I said John Landis, but I'm thinking Harold Ramis.
Yeah, John Landis was the director.
Right. Yeah, it's one of the few comedies from back then that still carries. It still works.
It's got to hold up.
Like that and Caddyshack. Those two were like bookends of the comedic pantheon back in the early 80s, and they're amazing.
I listened to a podcast recently called What Went Wrong. It goes over, I think, Doug, you'd really like this one. It's about all the things that go wrong in the making of a movie. And they were talking about Ghostbusters, and those guys had come off of Stripes. No, they come off of.
Yeah, I think there was something in between.
Meatballs,
Yeah.
which didn't do great
No.
because it was up against these other big movies like National Lampoon's Vacation, which did much, much, much better. But anyway,
would like
fine. If you like hearing about how some of these movies are made and the business decisions they make, the ones that go well, contract negotiations, all that stuff when it comes to making your favorite movies, What Went Wrong is a fun podcast diving into all that. But we got a fun podcast for you today talking money. We've spent all day this Monday talking with Sam Dogan about your money mindset. We're going to continue that, get even a little deeper with Leisa Peterson. Leisa, of course, is the person who is behind the Mindful Millionaire brand. She had an amazing story that I use all the time about thinking about what's important. Leisa sadly was at her doctor's office when there was a mass shooting, and she realized that the things she thought were important weren't nearly as important as she thought, and she wasn't focusing on the right stuff. So Lisa's a person who knows a lot about mindset. She's coming up next. But before we get to Leisa, we have a couple of sponsors that make sure that you don't have to pay for any of all the goodness you're going to hear today or any day on the Stacking Benjamin show. So we're going to hear from a couple of them. And then Leisa Peterson is going to help be our money catalyst. You may not know that when we started Stacking Benjamins, it was a blog. And even then, just the startup cost, I remember thinking, is this the right thing? And what if I write things and nobody comes, right? Well, luckily, that didn't end up happening. But starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. There's so much work. You're not sure whether it's going to work out. You're not sure if anybody's going to read it. And then we change it to a podcast. Is anybody actually going to listen, right? What if nobody wants all the stuff that we have? Well, had I used Shopify, it would have been even easier because with their expertise, their helpful tools, and their easy to use platform, that's something that would have made Stacking Benjamins more effective much, much more quickly. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. Names you've heard of like Heinz and Mattel, Shopify, Gymshark, Aviator Nation, Allbirds, also all Shopify. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. And did I mention that iconic purple Shop Pay button? It's used by millions of businesses around the world. It's why Shopify has the best converting checkout on the planet. It also helps boost conversions, meaning less carts going abandoned and more sales for you. So you're stacking Benjamins much more quickly. Time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial today at shopify.com/SB. Go to shopify.com/SB. That's shopify.com/SB. Dell PCs with Intel Inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. They're for those all-night study sessions, the moment you're working from a cafe and realize every outlet's taken, the times you're deep in your flow and can't be interrupted by an auto update. That's why Dell builds tech that adapts to you. Built with long-lasting batteries so you're not scrambling for an outlet, and built-in intelligence that makes updates around your schedule, not in the middle of it. Find technology built for the way you work at Dell.com/Dell PCs. Built for you. Hey, Stackers, great news that we received after we recorded these shows. You may have heard this last week, but if you missed our greatest hits week, we are coming to Boston. Boston area Stackers, I will be there on Tuesday, May 20th at Idle Hands Brewing in Malden. That's Idle Hands Brewing in Malden. The place to sign up is stackingbenjamins.com/meetup. Go make sure we know that you're coming. We're going to have some appetizers. We're going to have some drinks. It's going to be a good time with either a foamy beverage or just the beverage of your choice. Non-foamy is perfectly acceptable as well. But you know what? Hanging out with you is something that is so fun. We had a great time. Last time I was in the Boston area, Idle Hands Craft Ales in Malden, Tuesday, May 20th, Boston area stackers, stackingbenjamins.com/meetup to tell us you're coming. Well, if you suffer from one more year syndrome or fears of spending the next dollar, or that money's transitory, and like I thought when I was younger, if it's in my pocket, baby, it's fair game. Well, the next half hour is going to be specifically for you because the Leisa Peterson's here. How are you?
I'm so good. It's so fun to be here. Thank you.
It's so fun to have you back. It's funny. I don't know if I've told you this, but when I talk, your face is always on a screen because I always tell the story you told me from a long time ago when you were on. So, which we don't have to go back through that. But I got to tell you, on this project, talking about money catalysts and really kind of changing our framing around money. I love this project, number one, because when you're introducing it, it's all around a donut, number one. Like this woman is looking longingly at a donut. And I'm like, oh, that's me. That's totally me. And in Paris, which I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but it's my favorite city in the world.
Me too.
Isn't it? Paris is so awesome.
Oh, the best.
Yeah. Why this topic? Why now? Why do we need to talk about a new framing around money?
It's time. It's time. The idea that I'm always talking about being more conscious about this relationship with money, I have the sense that people are going to really, really be more conscious about their money in the coming months and years. Let's face it, we live in the United States of America. There's been this debt problem. There's been these things like inflation. There's been a lot of stuff going on. And no matter where you fall, you're affected by it. And that's how it goes with money. So I'm always preaching to this idea that the more we understand our relationship with money, the happier our lives are going to be.
And it's funny, we have all this subconscious stuff going on, and Stackers, Leisa and I are going to take you through a little bit of the journey that she takes us on, because this project is it's a parable. So if you've read the E-Myth, which I've talked about a lot here, if you've ever read The Goal, books like that, where it's just a simple, fun story. Like I was telling Leisa before we hit record, I just want to know what happens with her and Ethan, but we'll get to that in a second because I haven't finished it. But in the beginning, you realize immediately that we attach all this meaning to these little either things in our wallet or to our credit card, Leisa. Like this woman has been living this life where she's very mindful about money, but maybe too mindful to the point that she's not doing any living.
Exactly. You summed it up very nicely.
Is that most of us?
Yeah. I think that we fall on the spectrum depending on what phase of life we're in. Like when we're younger, there may be a tendency to spend more. And then we learn that that didn't work out so well. But, in her situation, she didn't have a lot growing up. She was responsible for a lot in her home at an early age. She gets out of college, has money, goes a little bit crazy, and with spending too much, gets into trouble. Her husband bails her out. And now they're like, okay, we just have to be careful. Like everything is about this frugality mindset. And then she goes to Paris and she realizes, hold the fort, I don't know if I'm doing this right. I don't know if this is really going to get me what I want, which is happiness and joy. And therein lies the struggle because it isn't one way or the other. And that's what she ends up starting to explore. It's not just spend all your money. It's also not be frugality your way to joy and happiness. I mean, maybe, but again, we write books that we most need or that we've most learned from. And side note, my husband a few years ago got prostate cancer. And I know that had a lot to do with this book because I was in Paris myself experiencing what started this whole thing. And I was with someone who had never been to Paris before and doesn't have a lot of money. And yet I was taking her as a thank you gift. Yet she showed me what true abundance was all about in Paris. And it wasn't just about spending money. It was about being in the present moment and celebrating what was in front of us. Instead of me doing this, okay, well, how much is that going to cost in US dollars to euros and all these crazy behaviors that I have done. and I miss out on the whole experience because I'm thinking about how much it costs. And so all of this is kind of coming into the setting of what she starts to explore.
Yeah, she is this, your friend was the one that had the donut in front of her and she's worshiping this donut. And you're like, I don't know. I get the feeling you're like, come on, it's a donut. But then you realize it's no matter what it is, she's in the moment, Leisa. She's present all the way through Paris instead of, to your point, just clicking off the next box and go, well, now it's time to go to the Louvre. It's time to go to the next thing.
Yes, she is seizing the moment, and every single thing we do is the most magical experience I've ever had. And I've been to Paris many times, and I was shocked. It was so shocking. I didn't even understand what was happening because I was just kind of holding on.
I feel like you're seeing it through new eyes.
Yep. And how money plays into our experiences of whether we're in the present moment or we're not.
You know, I get the feeling that what you're telling us early on is maybe we're even just coming at this from the wrong way. Like, am I frugal? Am I somebody that YOLOs? I get the feeling that you're saying that deciding that really isn't where we need to start. Am I right with that?
Yes, you are. Questioning these assumptions that we just take for granted are right and that are taking good care of us. What if we don't have it as figured out as we think we do? Like that is really what's going on. And what's so interesting is a little backstory is I was asked to write a book, the most basic book possible, a nonfiction book about abundance by my publisher. And I started writing it, and it just felt like everything had already been said before. I was bored to no end, and I didn't think I could do it the way that they wanted me to do it. And what kept coming to me was a year before this experience of being in Paris with Jenny. And I was like, well, I'm just going to write that as a short story, not necessarily about us, but two women in Paris together. And I wrote it thinking, well, maybe this would be like the way to introduce it. And once I introduce this short story, then I can write the nonfiction book. Well, when I was workshopping this with 35 people in my community, and I was writing the nonfiction book and I was writing the fiction story, I gave them the fiction story and everybody was like, oh my gosh, what happens next? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what happens next. You guys, like, I'm not a fiction writer. Like, I don't know that I can tell you, but I'm really excited. Like, it made me cry that they actually got excited about the story. Then I came up with the next scene, which actually was inspired by a real life thing that happened in Paris. And then they were like, Leisa, there's no point of writing a nonfiction book. Like, stay with Mirabelle. Please tell us what Mirabelle's about to do. So I feel like this did not happen in a very planned way, is what I'm trying to say. Like, all these crazy ass experiences that I've had with money over my lifetime were able to find their way in a very vulnerable way into these characters.
And yet then the final product is 8 very laid out, not necessarily steps, but this emotional maze that we go through as we try to figure out abundance. Like I love the fact that you failed on telling us about abundance and instead succeeded to show us this is abundance through the story. Because when she begins, so for our stackers out there, we'll just share just a little bit of what happens at the beginning. She's with a friend, much like your friend, and she's present in Paris and she's seeing this wonderful stuff that the friend says, let's share a bottle of wine. Let's make it champagne. And this woman who normally is a penny pincher is like, yeah, let's do it. And then she finds herself at a nice restaurant and they spend money on that. And she realizes, because it's so much a part of the experience, I don't ever feel like it's frivolous. It just is, she's fully enjoying the experience without spending so much time and energy worried about her wallet. To the point that even at the end, I'm like, oh, maybe she needs to worry about her wallet a little bit, which is funny because then she comes home and she immediately then, Leisa, has this fight with her husband because he wasn't there. He didn't experience it. And I feel like, Leisa, this is kind of the two halves of our brain, right? I've got the, damn it, I'm in Paris and this is the experience I want in my life. But at the same time, I have to be responsible. I got to make sure this lasts forever. Like it is truly hard to live an abundant life and yet live a responsible life at the same time. It's not an easy journey.
It really isn't. It really isn't. And I think that was why I was struggling so much in this nonfiction book about abundance, because it felt like it was filled with bullshit. I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't just tell people what they want to hear. I couldn't make it picture perfect and glossy and, oh, if you just think this way, then everything's going to be awesome. And meanwhile, people are trying to figure out how to buy organic blueberries at Costco, which is what we were talking about with my husband today when he was there, saying they're $11. Is it worth it? And it's like, no, it's not worth it today, honey. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't write that book.
Or people even just worried about making the rent payment this month.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. And there's tons of people that are really struggling. If you look at the data, it's saying that more people were making the minimum payments on their credit cards than like they had ever tracked. I mean, just crazy data that tells you we have a problem. And I couldn't play into this self-help thing that I have been a part of. I was like, it's way more complicated than this. And the only way I could say what I wanted to say was through real people living a real life, struggling with the things that we struggle with. Now, granted, their transformation happens a lot faster than most of the time it happens for us, but the spirit of it is those fights, those challenges, those conversations with our friends where they're like, it's nice for you to imagine that you're living in Paris all the time, but that's totally not realistic. The truth tellers in our lives, thank goodness they exist. I wanted the character to still be in this real life experience, and yet she's able to find a way through it.
That to me is the exciting part because of the fact that these, maybe not fights, but these deep discussions are worth having with your spouse, with your partner, with your friends around you. Like, this is not my reality. I want a different reality for myself. And even to begin, because you talk about at the beginning of this project that it really starts inside. Like you need to look inside. Is this really what I'm going for? Like, what am I going for? This was a frustrating thing. You were a financial planner. I was a financial planner. Looking at, even with my clients, sometimes they weren't looking at like what they really want. They're like, oh, I could probably do this. I'm like, who cares about that? What do you really want to do? And Leisa, it's such a big struggle to even look at that in the mirror.
I agree. And I'll say that this book, my husband and I have been together forever. And like, he helped me a lot on this book. And we have like got a lot of money conversations. And I am not kidding you. We grew more from this book and his involvement in this book that I could ever even begin to list out all the changes.
How is that? What do you mean?
Well, first of all, when I wrote, because I had never written fiction, and he read the first draft, he's like, your Ethan sounds like maybe a male therapist, but more like a woman. That's not what a guy would say.
Sure.
He had to help me. He had to come back and get really involved in the characters to be like, a guy would say this, not that, right?
I mean, and everybody says it's hard for women to write men to write women, et cetera anyway. Yeah.
Totally. So he was involved in the whole thing. And what would happen is he'd read it and he's like, are you trying to tell me something? Like,
he thinks you're using the character to talk to him.
Yes, 100%. I'm like, honey.
Did you say everything doesn't have to be about you?
Yeah. I mean, he's like, he has this thing, I think, because I've been growing so much as a human for the whole time we've been together. And I think he goes through these periods where he's like, oh my gosh, she's growing again. And that means I'm going to have to grow again. So this book was like an opportunity because I was exploring things that were deep inside of my relationship with money and my challenges in my relationship. And I was bringing them in because I was like, we are not the only ones dealing with this stuff. But what's amazing is by writing about it and reading it, we started having conversations about patterns that we have that weren't healthy for us, even after being together for so long.
Oh, that's fabulous. What are you struggling with?
What was I struggling with?
Yeah, you said patterns and things that you've been struggling with.
Yeah.
What are you struggling with?
We have achieved a really good position with money, and yet we still struggle with where is it reasonable to spend it and where is it not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not ever probably going to be easy for us because I know that we were able to build wealth through frugality, but we're at a phase in life where between him getting cancer and us kind of backing away from work being the primary way that we earn, I'd say actively working for others, we are more focused on like passive income sources. We have more freedom than we ever had before, but nobody taught us how to use that freedom and use it in a way that brings us great joy. And so even the story of Ethan, originally I thought this book was going to be mostly for women, but what Tim has shown me is that, and the men who have read this book have come back to me on, is they see themselves in the places where they're holding back, where they really aren't asking that question you said earlier of like, do I really, really know what I want? Do I really, really know who I want to be hanging out with and why I want to be hanging out with them? Am I being incredibly purposeful in these areas?
Even Lisa, for me, it was even smaller than that. When they upgrade the bottle of wine, I'm even thinking to myself, I'm like, is that worth it? To me, is it worth it? Do I go with the less expensive bottle of wine, or is this the moment? I know I'm not the only person that's done this. I've got a couple bottles of wine in my fridge that are probably bad now because I've saved them for a special moment for so long. And every single moment, Lisa, it's not the moment. I'm like, no, this isn't the moment. It's going to be a really special moment. You know what's going to happen? By the time I actually get around to cracking open the bottle of wine, it's going to be junk. It's going to be gone. It's going to be bad because I'm going to wait too long. And so is this the moment? Is this what's really important to me? You know, should I be looking at the donut and appreciating it before I just gobble it? Like even those little things are important. Well, heck, let's take one here because I've got a couple things early on in the book that I think that a lot of us struggle with. One big moment comes when Maribel, your main character, asked Leela, who is the free spirit who is really convinced her in Paris to have fun. Maribel asked Leela why she's tipping this street artist so much money. They go by this street artist. Leela leaves like it's huge tip. And Maribel says, I don't get it. Isn't that a lot of money for something you can't even take with you? I'm not even going to get anything out of this. And then Leela says back, if we follow that logic, this trip is a waste of money. The memories won't last forever, but isn't experiencing beauty and feeling alive what truly makes us feel wealthy? That's what living an abundant life is all about.
Yes. And are we paying attention to that? Are we totally equating money to stuff or money to the number, how high that number goes? That's the most important thing. There are plenty of people that do look at it that way without questioning the fact that money is literally there to make sure that we have a roof over our heads, a car to drive, food to eat. That's the most important thing about money, not the accumulation of money as the joy in and of itself.
It's this reminder when I generously tip because it meant a lot to me. And it was a big moment for me. And I realized that this person probably needs the money more than I do, frankly, as somebody that's done pretty well. I've also found that it always comes back to me. Like the spirit of giving, the more I give, the easier it is for me to manifest more money. I don't know why. I don't know how. But Lisa, it always seems to happen. You know what I mean? Where when I get really, really, really frugal and I don't do anything, I feel like the opportunities dry up. The universe just shuts down to me the same way I'm shutting down to everybody else.
I totally feel that. And I've noticed it. It's so powerful to just notice where your scarce patterns show up because they might not be as blatant as what you just described, where you're like, oh, I feel like I need to be more tight with my money. Like it might just be in certain places, like at the restaurant when you're tipping.
Yeah.
And instead of feeling the generosity of this great service that you just received, you're like, oh, tipping is overrated. Like you go into an internal tirade of like, even though you just got wonderful service, that would be in that moment, you are having a scarcity or abundant experience right there and then.
It's amazing being around other people and watching this manifest itself. And you sometimes wonder what's going on. People also feel this way when it comes to work. Early on, Mirabelle meets a man in the airport, and he clearly, you have this great device you use so that she's able to be around a really, really rich guy. I won't spoil it for everybody, but I like how you get them sitting next to each other and they just start to talk. And he explains to her that he grew his company bigger and bigger and bigger, and he made more and more and more money. And he talks about how he was really chasing this unclear idea of success. And he didn't really know it was bigger and bigger and bigger. And it was for what? And it's funny that I read that within an hour, I saw this interview on TikTok. This is an interview with the character known as Mr. Beast. You know Mr. Beast from YouTube?
Yeah.
This is Jimmy, Mr. Beast, being interviewed by Stephen Bartlett.
If my mental health was a priority, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. I mean, that's just like a sad fact. Like, I obviously never would have buried myself alive for 7 days of solitary, 7 days on a deserted island, 7 days, blah, blah, blah. Being able to consistently suffer over long periods is like arguably one of the deepest modes. Like, there's a reason no one makes videos like me. Like, not even close, because no one wants to live the life I live. I think there was 1 year I was flying like 200 days. Like, I was on a plane. I mean, it was a mess. But, to get these videos done, when I wake up tomorrow and I'm going to be pretty tired and feel like something I always tell myself is how you feel right now is why no one else does what you want to do or does what you do. And if you push through this, that's just even, more of a reason why no one will ever be who you are. And so I think being able to push through unhappiness and do things you don't want to do consistently year after year over the course of a decade is like the ultimate advantage. Like, I mean, I think we'll hit 1 billion subscribers, and I don't think anyone will be anywhere near close, because like, once you make a couple $1 million, why would you live the life I live? Like, why? Why would you not take weekends off? Why would you not just film locally, even if it means less views, so you can be on the right time schedule? Why would you not prioritize your sanity and that kind of stuff? It makes no sense, but that's why no one else does it.
Lisa, I'm with him about the mission. You can tell it's not about the money. It's about the billion views. I see people like him, like Tom Brady, like Serena Williams, where if it was just about one title, Lisa, they would have gotten the trophy, moved on. But it truly is about this system of making trophies and this inner drive to be better. I'm on board with all of that. The part that struck me that I don't hear from any of those other champions was pushing through unhappiness and pushing through mental instability. I've never thought of, I have at times, and obviously I'm looking at this through People Magazine's eyes. I've questioned sometimes what Tom Brady's focused on, or, Serena. It's easy for me to do. It's easy for all of us to throw darts, right? But I never questioned their sanity or their happiness. I felt like they're probably very happy. When you see them, they seem very happy doing this thing, driven and happy. When Jimmy starts talking about unhappy, that's when he really loses me, because he seems like your guy in the book. Mm-hmm. Like he's just building it and building it and building it and building it and colossally unhappy.
Totally. It's all ego. There's no heart in it. The character in the book, it took getting cancer for him to reevaluate his life. And I've known plenty of people who have done that, but not just reevaluate, but realize that maybe he was missing the whole freaking point of his life. Like, that's what I feel like happens. And what just occurred to me when I was listening to that and to you, most of the time we'll see successful people and we'll see them like doing the Tom Brady, or right now it's Nicole Kidman. I'm like, how many movies can you be in? Like, you're in every single thing. I don't know how she has a life.
Everywhere you look.
We see those stories of like one more. But what we don't see are those stories. And I do feel like this may apply to Serena, where she did fall in love and she did have a baby and her life radically changed. Okay. And she went to that life and she's totally embracing that life. And I think she's talking about it. But most of the time, when people do find the beautiful combination that's bringing them love and happiness and joy, they exit and we don't ever hear about what happened for them. They just disappear. So we don't have a lot of role models that say, maybe I didn't really understand this game of life. Even though it looked like I was winning, it's not true.
I'm chasing the thing. And for what? Yeah, I was very disturbed by that interview. I had a long discussion with our friend Paula Pant about that discussion. But because when he talked about being unhappy, I'm like, I think you're missing it. I don't know. Again, easy for me to say because he's Mr. Beast with all his stuff going on. But I don't think choosing unhappiness is the way to go. Later on in the book, you begin marrying money habits into these catalysts. How do we begin? And obviously, in a 25-minute discussion, we're not going to solve all of our stackers' problems, Leisa. But how do we begin molding better money patterns into this abundant approach that you're talking about? What are our first moves?
It was so hard, Joe. I've been working with people in money for like 30 years. I started with 20 for each of them. And I just kept drilling down like, okay, only 5, girlfriend, you can do it. And one of them I'll share came directly from my daughter in the past couple years, who is running a very successful content creation business. Okay, so these aren't the same that we've heard all along. I tried to bring things that were different. And the one learned by Zoe is when you want to make more money, you need to be very, very comfortable with the word no. What that means is that my daughter, in negotiating her deals, she strives to hear no, because until she hears no, she is not sure that she's actually pricing at the market for her services. I started applying that to everything. Like when you ask for a raise, like, are we all afraid of hearing no? Because we're never going to know the ceiling if we don't push it. And in any negotiation, are you stopping before you get to know because you want to keep it copacetic? Or could you actually push yourself and become very comfortable knowing that you've reached the end of the negotiation and now you have achieved something that you wouldn't have achieved without that one tip?
What I love about that tip for me too, is you kind of got to think to yourself, is this worth going until no? Which means I have to question, is this really important to me? Which is, to our earlier discussion, that's the important part of this. How important is this? Am I debating something that's actually important?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but it's important to make sure that you're earning the value that you're creating in the world.
Absolutely. The book is called The Money Catalyst, and it has been available for about 3 days, but you've got some extras if people go to a specific place, Leisa?
moneycatalyst.book.com. There's a journal that goes along with it and meditations that guide you through. And my latest edition, a song list that takes you through the whole book, which is
a
super
song
cool.
list.
Yes. Isn't that fun?
Like a Spotify playlist?
Yes. That's so awesome. Excited.
That is awesome. I'm a guy that listens to music nonstop, so that just made the whole thing. This was a very good book. It's now a great book. Leisa, thank you so much for helping our stackers really get their mind in the right place and think about abundance and what we really want. I truly appreciate the time and your energy around this topic.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and here's a money catalyst situation gone wrong. It was on today's date in history, way back in 1856, that a shipload of camels were first brought to the USA for commercial purposes. It was Congress who had appropriated $30,000 for the camel acquisition to be used in experiments to determine whether they'd work for the military. 33 camels began the voyage from Turkey, but 34 arrived. Incredibly, 1 had died along the way, but 2 were born and survived the trip. They were sent to Texas. You could still go see Camp Verde where they were stationed, which leads to an important question. Under hot conditions like a Texas summer, how long can camels go without water? Is it a whopping 5 days, an incredible 2 weeks, or there's no way they can do it, half a month? I'll be back with the answer to that question once I start finding out how long OG can go without Woodford. I believe it's about a week, but I want to find out scientifically.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
What would you do if your online store converted 36% more shoppers? You could take 36% more vacation.
Another pina colada?
Yes, please.
Open a new retail location with 36% more square feet.
Fantastic.
Hire 36% more help.
You're hired and you're hired.
Shopify has the world's best converting checkout, up to 36% better than other e-commerce platforms. What you do with those extra sales is up to you. Switch to Shopify today at shopify.com/listen and get a $1 trial. Shopify.com/listen.
Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery with thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers? Whether you're planting fruit trees, adding privacy, brightening things up with flowers, or bringing in houseplants, Fast Growing Trees has it all. Even better, they can help you find options that are right for your climate, your space, and lifestyle. Click Order Grow. Every plant arrives healthy with the Alive and Thrive guarantee straight to your door. So if you're ready to get planting, this is the moment. Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code WWO at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code WWO at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code WWO. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use WWO to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions apply. Go to growingfasttrees.com for details.
Hey there, stackers. I'm Mr. Scientific Method and guy who's the three-humped camel carrying this podcast, Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. The first camels in America, sadly, didn't work out. After the Civil War broke out, the Confederates couldn't afford to maintain the Camel Brigade, and that was the end of it. However, legends of camels roaming the Southwest continued for decades, including one called the Red Ghost, a huge camel supposedly with a skeleton riding on it. And that was seen across sections of Arizona until 1893, when a farmer reportedly shot it and killed it. And yes, there was a skeleton on the camel. But the question is, in hot weather like a summer in the American Southwest, how long can a camel go without water? It's half a month, or roughly 15 days. That's incredible. And now, because you shouldn't go without financial knowledge bombs for more than 5 minutes, here's Joe and OG.
Man, camels roaming the American Southwest, OG. Imagine if that had taken off. You could be camel riding to work every day. Wouldn't that be fun?
I mean, it'd be something. I don't know if fun would be the word I'd use. Have you ever ridden a camel? Briefly when we went to Egypt. Scoreboard.
Rode a camel right by the Great Pyramid.
Scoreboard.
Is that like, sit on it, we'll take your picture, and I get off, tourist?
Oh, dude, it was not fun at all because the Bedouins that ran the thing, they had already been paid and tipped, and they spent the entire time begging me for another tip.
Oh, man.
And when I finally gave the dude, I told him 15 times.
Buy low, sell high.
I told him 15 times. I kept saying, dude, I know you were already tipped. And he goes, no, brother, you got your information wrong. I'm like, no, my tour guide said that you were already tipped. No, you got your information wrong. And then I see my buddy Malcolm, who's on the next camel over, giving a tip. And they say something back and forth. So I'm like, Malcolm, damn it. So then I give him $1. And the dude.
Whoa, big spender.
Oh, wow. No, OG, it gets really bad. The dude literally takes the $1 and throws it back at me. And it just falls in the desert and goes, you call that a tip? You think I can live on that? Your friend over here knows how to tip his guy. He said, I can't accept any of this money. That's horrible. Get off my camel.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
He asked you for the tip while you're sitting on the camel?
While I'm on the camel, after he's already, it was horrible.
We played a golf course a year ago with a bunch of friends, and some other friends had already played it. And it's a unique setup where you have to take caddies. And so there's a caddy fee, but then there's a tip for the caddies. And there's 8 of us playing, and maybe 3 or 4 of the guys had already played this course before. And we talked about it ahead of time. We're like, what's the what's the going rate on the caddy thing so that we're all, and they said, well, this is how much it is. I said, okay. So we all tip our caddies every day. We played 4 days in a row. And on the last day, the caddy that I had made some comment about it. I was like, well, hopefully, hopefully
comment, like negative comment about the amount you were tipping
it was just enough of a comment to make me go, I thought we all agreed that this was the rate, And so it was just enough to, spidey senses tingling a little bit. Right. And so I asked one of my other friends, I said, hey, we all agreed on, whatever the number was, $100, right? And he goes, no, man, I've been doing 200. I was like, what do you mean? And then I asked somebody else, and they're like, yeah, I did 200. I know we said 100, but I've been doing 200. I'm like, hold on a second. So half the group knows that the real number is 200, and half the group is looking like the D-bag.
Cheap ass.
Yeah. I'm like, no wonder I've been getting bad putt reads this whole time.
It's a driver. I'm 100 yards out, sir. It's a driver.
For you, sir, it's actually 2 wedges from here.
I had a very awkward situation the first time I ever had a caddy. We pull up at the Detroit Golf Club with my buddy, and he pops his trunk. I get out, and this kid comes over, and he grabs my golf clubs, and he starts walking away with them. And so I start chasing after him. I'm like, hey. And my friend grabs my hand and goes, that's your caddy.
He looks deeply in your eye. He says, Joe,
that is your caddy.
There's something I've been meaning to tell you.
And then I step up to the first tee later. It was so embarrassing. I think some, high school kid.
And then you teed off, and then you realize that wasn't the embarrassing part.
Oh, well, no, that's exactly where I'm going, because I tee off, and, we're right there in front of the beautiful club. And of course it's part of the PGA Tour now, the Rocket Mortgage Classic or whatever they call it. And I just smothered it's just a beautiful drive right down the middle of the fairway. And so we get to my ball, and my caddy comes up, and he goes, something like, wind's blowing left to right, and the thing, you want to play it over here and whatever. And I turn to him, and I just start laughing, OG. I'm like, you don't need to do any of that today, because you're about to see some, you are going to see some. And I remember maybe on the 14th hole, I needed a big hit. I needed a big hit to get where I was going. So I just rear back, and I take this massive swing, and I completely miss the ball.
Great practice swing.
And I turn myself so far around that my caddy literally has his head down, and he's trying so damn hard not to laugh. He's like, no, I want a tip. No, please, God, I want a tip. I can't laugh at this dude who's the worst golfer I've ever seen. It was so bad. Yeah, not great. Anyway, let's get to our TikTok minute, shall we?
Is it about golf?
It is not about golf, but Doug, it's about sports. It is about sports.
Go, my favorite sports team. Go.
Yeah. How about the football draft that happened a couple weeks ago, and watching that one poor kid just go down and down and down in the draft.
He was at the top of the mountain, got out his sled and slid all the way down.
Just horrible. When they were doing the 4th and 5th round, I actually put on my headphones and I went out for a run because I didn't want to miss ESPN calling when this kid finally got drafted. I felt so bad. Oh, and how about the prank call that was made to him?
And that one got all the headlines, but there were a ton of prank calls. There were some offensive linemen who got 5 prank calls.
Were there really?
Yeah, there were a bunch. The NFL's looking into how all of these numbers got exposed.
They know exactly how it happened.
Oh, geez, like my bad.
No. They've already solved that problem.
They have?
Yeah.
Is it all from that same kid, the offensive coordinator's son?
I think so. Yeah.
It's all from that one kid.
I didn't know that.
Wow. That is not good. Imagine if you came home and your kid did that. That's a bad day for everybody. But I saw this TikTok video, and for people that aren't into sports, in the draft, you wait, and finally you get a call from the team that tells you that you've been drafted. So here is a guy who is in his 50s, and it appears that he has just gotten a call because his draft number has come up.
This guy's one of the most underrated players in this league. To be a first-team defense guy, and maybe Boston's
man, are you serious? Oh, I'm excited. I'm pumped. I can't wait, Coach. I can't wait. Yes. I've been dreaming this all my life. I'm ready, Coach. All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Going to assisted living.
different call up. The bad news about that one, OG, you don't make a bunch of money. You end up spending millions of dollars instead of getting millions of dollars.
I thought it was going to be a play on selective service, which was a conversation I got to have with my son the other day. He's like, wait, I got to do what? I was like, well, it's this really cool thing. You have to volunteer yourself. Like, I don't want to. I'm like, that's not an option. It's the law.
Big thanks to Justin for sending that my way. He actually wrote me and said, maybe this is going to happen to one of you guys pretty soon. And I wanted to send him back just a big old finger.
Yeah, a single finger.
Yeah,
a tall boy salute.
Absolutely. Not the $1 million opportunity I was looking forward to. All right. Time for today's headline.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamin's headlines.
Our headline today comes to us from Investment News. This is some good news, OG, with the markets fluctuating as they always do, but people, of course, in the media really talking about it the last several weeks and all the tariff concerns that people have. Bruce Kelly writes a piece that I think is going to save everybody's bacon. He says, add Edward Jones, the closely held private partnership with more than 20,000 financial advisors and $2.2 trillion in client assets to the roll call of firms expanding or revamping its list of, drumroll, investments outside of the stock market, higher risk alternative investments that their financial advisors can sell to you and me. Firms are doing this, said Kevin Gannon, chair and CEO of Robert A. Stringer and Company. There's a big pull to alternative investments right now because of volatility in the stock market. So the answer, OG, that your Edward Jones person is going to tell you is, you know what, Mr. Client, Miss Client, you shouldn't be in the stock market at all. I got a better thing for you than the stock market here. What are we talking about with these alternative investments, do you think?
Well, in a word, I guess, stupidity. Is that
100%, 1,000% stupidity?
Oh, this stuff pops up from time to time, right? Especially when the market goes down, people who aren't comfortable with that recognize that volatility works both ways. For some reason, people seem to think that plus 20 is a really great thing, but minus 20 isn't the same thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, if the average return is 10 and you get 20, that's volatility. That's the fun part of volatility. That's the good side. It's just we don't like the not so fun side of volatility.
But guess how you pay for it?
So when we get this downside fluctuation, when there's, so a lot of the stuff, financial products come out that are, or at least they come out of the woodwork, that are meant to, prey on the fear of people who are not as educated about it as they maybe could be. And so they'll say things like, get all of the upside with none of the downside, or you need non-correlated investments that stay the course when the markets plummet. And they use big words like that. The reality is that if you believe, and I think the vast majority of people will subscribe to this theory, that markets are terribly efficient, not inefficient. They're very efficient. And what I mean by that is there's not any real information that's not immediately known by everybody all at the same time. And that's really the whole thesis of efficient markets, right? Is like there are no secrets. And if you're trading based on secrets, you're doing it illegally. And, eventually you go to jail, you get a big fine. So, for real market participants, and I know people are going to say, well, what about Congress? I've read that. Okay, whatever. That's not a thing. Those aren't real people. I'm talking about us real people in the real world.
About average people.
I'm just saying, like, you and I both get to know the earnings report of Coca-Cola at the same time. There's no, your computer's slightly faster than mine. Maybe you can read faster than I can, so you can get through the 200 pages faster than I can. But the information is there, and it's available for consumption all at the same time to everyone at the same time. So all of the information is known. Therefore, people are educated in the price structure of stocks. So you sell it, and I buy it. We agree on that price. You're comfortable with the selling it at that price. I'm comfortable with buying it at that price. That makes it an efficient market. It's just no different than going to the grocery store and knowing that avocados are 50 cents a piece or $1 a piece or whatever they are. If one store is selling it for $6 a piece, they're not going to sell any avocados, because pretty soon the store manager is going to go, there's something going on with our avocado. Well, how come nobody's buying it? And he'll find out, well, somebody else is selling it for $1. And then, or the guy at $1 will go, well, hold on a second. Those guys over there are selling for $6. Why are we only selling for $1? Let's charge $3, and it works out, and it works out very quickly. So when you introduce an investment product or an investment solution that supposedly has some sort of secret sauce. It just flies in the face of the overall overarching thesis of efficient markets. There is not a thing that exists that provides you with, X return, but Y volatility. You can't have bank security, guaranteed availability of your money tomorrow by the FDIC insurance, and small cap value returns of 13% a year. That doesn't exist in real life. And if somebody's trying to spin that to you, they're full of crap, or there's something else associated with it. A high cost, illiquidity. There's something that you don't know, because there's no way that that product can exist in the real world. Otherwise, everybody would do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like when somebody says, well, such and such a person always picks really good stocks. Well, if there was a person out there who could always pick the stock market in advance, that person would manage all of the money for all the people, right? Always. But there would be no other people who were doing it. And then guess what? There would be no market. And then,
right.
It would be over. So, so it's a good thing that we can't predict it. So when you hear things like, this alternative investment is designed to give you upside protection with downside, well, it can't do that. You can't get market returns and bank-like security unless there's something else associated with it.
I think the takeaway is every investment strategy has an Achilles heel. There is no investment strategy that does not have an Achilles heel. And if somebody sells you that they've got this perfect weapon that has no Achilles heel, you need to look harder, because there is one. There's always going to be a time when an investment doesn't.
Yeah, and I think a trusted pro, I think somebody who is doing what's in your best interest will volunteer that information. Look, if you're concerned about market volatility and you're like, I can't sleep at night. I'm really stressed out about this. I understand the concept of investing, but it just really makes me uneasy. What can you do for me? There's a solution for that.
Well, they want you to know. It's in their best interest that you know what the downside is. So when it happens, then you go, oh yeah, OG told me this is going to happen. Sure, this is a naturally occurring piece of this puzzle.
And I would say that in the context of your financial plan, that's how you answer these questions. It's like, we've mentioned this before. It's been a long time since we talked about it, so I think maybe it's not a good time. If all you wanted to do was have zero volatility, so let's say that you're like, look, I'm 20 years old. I'd have too many Tums. Like, there's no way I can deal with that. I'll just save into my savings account. Okay? That'll be what I do. I'll just save a lot of money. I get that, I don't have any returns, so I have to save money. This is the profound thing. You cannot make enough money between 20 and 65 to have enough money from 65 to 95. You will not earn, even if you didn't pay taxes or bills or anything, you will not earn enough money to outpace the inflation required from 65 to 95. If you saved every dollar you made into a savings account, you have to have market returns. And I think when you build it, when you think about it from a financial planning standpoint, you become a little bit more, what's the word I want to use here? A little more immune to the ups and downs, because you're like, I get it. This is part of the trade to get 10. I got money that Alex's tuition is due in 4 months. That money's safe and secure. It's sitting in the savings account. I don't care about that. My retirement is in 15 years. That money's invested aggressively. I've got money for when my grandkids go to college. That's in 25 years from now. That's invested aggressively. Like, I don't care what happens to that money. I do care. Look, if I had Alex's college tuition money in the market right now for his freshman, I'd be pretty stressed, because of like, oh crap, it's down 15%. I should have, but that's on me for not having the goal aligned with the money that I have.
Having the money in the right place. Yeah.
Yeah. That's me going, I'm being careless.
And this is where I think Edward Jones is really getting it wrong, OG. If the leadership at Edward Jones had any balls at all, they would seriously be saying, no, this is when the rubber meets the road. If your goal is 15 years from now, this is when you double down on these investments that we're doing. You know why? Because 5 years from now, 7 years, who the hell knows when? But we do know that if the economy is going to continue, this is when the money is made. It's not when the market's up. It's not 5 years ago when things were doing great. It's not 2 years ago when things were doing great. You seriously are going to look back and go, you know what I should have been doing? And instead, what's Edward Jones doing? Edward Jones is going, oh yeah, we're going to give you this
easy fix.
Yeah. We're going to give you some duct tape that, number one, takes away from the brilliance in your strategy, which is investing when things are down. But number two are also a bunch of garbage strategies that we end up reporting on later that blow up in your face. 5 years from now, Edward Jones advisors are going to get these calls. How come this thing isn't performing now that the stock market's back? How come I'm locked into this stupid thing? Well, remember when the market was bad? It seemed like a good idea at the time.
The other thing is kind of interesting. I don't know what the market will be like when people listen to this show, but as we record it today, it's been about a month since the chaos started. It went down a whole bunch pretty violently. I was surprised to learn, because I don't track this every single day, but I mean, it's kind of like a big nothing burger right now, right? It was down 15, 18%. Now it's back down to like -3, -4. It's like,
a couple of days ago,
if you'd have gone on vacation for a month without access to TV and somebody's like, dude, oh my God, the market's down 3%. You'd have been like, oh, okay. I mean, okay.
Yeah, market down 6 a couple of days ago. And if you stayed well invested,
I don't even know.
Meaning that you're diversified. If you're not just all in the S&P 500, you're diversified, you're down less than that. If you had some international positions, you're going to be sitting in a decent spot right now.
For sure.
So sad to see Edward Jones make that move. And they're not the only ones. They're just the ones in this particular piece. And we'll link to it in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. This is the time, stackers, when shovel money away.
Just do your thing.
So in a mattress,
just do your plan, follow your plan.
Stick with the stock market. You cannot save into the mattress, like OG was saying earlier. The other thing too, some of this, by the way, OG, for some people, and you've seen this before, it's boredom. Like some people, they're like, boring is so not sexy. And then they get these sexy sales pitches about, these cool things that they do. And the risk premium on most of these investments just isn't there, because that's what the founder of the investment, the people making the packaging, that's what they're living on, is the risk premium by charging a bunch for the strategy.
1 year return ending April 29th of the S&P is 10.14.
Plus 10.
Yeah.
Plus 10.
Yeah.
As of today. Wow. As we record this.
As of when we record.
If you're bored, be like a normal person and buy a pair of golf shoes at 11 o'clock at night when you're scrolling and you don't start messing with your investments.
I know. I think, you know what? There's got to be some alternative investment out there. Get a hobby, man.
Right. Get into photography. You can spend your money real easily on lenses.
Buy an airplane. Those are fun.
Guess what investment I made?
That'll burn through a lot of cash.
We'll link to this piece in the show notes at stackingbenjamins.com, and stay the course, stackers. Stay the course. We're going to move out on the back porch because we've got a couple things. Doug, have you decided, are you joining us Thursday night for this shindig?
I am leaning positively in that direction.
Oh,
yes.
that'll be
I'm not
great.
going to guarantee it, but I'm leaning strongly in that direction.
You get the Doug. By the way, I had somebody reach out to me and say, I'm really enjoying more Doug in the conversations lately. And I said, and this might've been Gary, who we talked about on Monday, but I replied back, I'm like, do not write that. Do not say that. Don't let him know. Please, God, do not.
And then you went and you undermined yourself and said it out loud to
by
everybody.
saying it right now.
My head's huge right now.
Well, that is the thank you for saying that you will join us on the 15th, because we did this a few years ago. We had about 400 people join us online. It was a great discussion. Here's where you go for the retirement calculator mistakes. Stacking Benjamins live, 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. This is, if you're listening to this later, you're like, which Thursday? This will be May 15th, 2025. So if you're listening later, you missed it. It was great. It was fantastic. And next time, listen quicker. So
Doug,
you can get there.
Doug might have been there.
And Doug may have been there, and it was amazing. Steve Chen from Bolden joins us. He was there 4 years ago. And this guy brings up all the things that he's seen. And he and I were talking earlier. He's got some new ones, some doozies that people have made when they're diving into calculators. Bolden is our favorite calculator. If you're going to dive into the numbers yourself, it's the closest to the calculators that professionals use that I know of. So stackingbenjamins.com/Bolden2025, BOLDIN 2025. Go either to that link or just go to our YouTube page Thursday night, 8 p.m. And you'll see that we are going live then. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And do the math if you're in Central or Mountain time zones.
I feel like those people are constantly doing math. Their whole life is just converting time.
I got to say, I don't know about you, OG, but once I went to Central, I'm doing the math constantly. I'm like, okay, do we, all right.
Or where does this TV station originate? You're close enough to the line, Joe. You're probably wondering, wait, is that time they're putting on the screen real time? Is it like the rest of the world time or Central time?
The only time it drives me crazy is on New Year's Eve. Because on New Year's Eve, finding the ball drop in the Central time zone is so difficult.
Just watch the one that's on New York and then go to bed.
I was going to say, you know how I solve that? I go to bed at 11 o'clock. I mean, if you're searching for the ball drop,
which is an hour too late anyway.
If you're still,
don't make the joke, Doug.
I'm going to say, I got to say the ball drop joke.
Do not make the joke. I knew exactly where your 12-year-old mind is going, and we're not making the joke.
Damn it.
I got some great stuff from our friends on Spotify, by the way. Silent Shade agreed with me. South of Midnight's a really good game. It is. It's the prettiest game I played in a long time. This is a great Xbox game that we talked about a couple weeks ago. It is so good. Doug, you and I are getting into Far Cry now, and we're
yes. I've heard about that franchise forever because when you and I are playing Far Cry 5, it's our first time trying any of them. And I was told about the setting for it, and that just appealed to me more. It's like Montana, Wyoming, kind of.
We're
that
taking out
region,
some cultish group. There's some separatist group.
Yeah. But I always thought it was a sci-fi setting, and I just don't do sci-fi. And so I've tried it, but it just doesn't hook me. But yeah, you and I played. Was it just one night or two nights?
Just one night. Yeah.
God, it was awesome. Yeah. I can't wait to get back to it. It was great. Cause you know what I like is co-op.
Yes, me too.
And I'm not going to sit down and play that in story mode, but I'll play
the
it
bad
co-op.
news, OG, is I always have to carry Doug through these levels because I'm so much better at video games than he is.
I feel the same way.
Actually, Doug sits there while I'm going.
Yeah, I hear Joe screaming, and I think he's yelling at me. Damn it! Why are you doing it? Like, I'm on the rooftop covering your ass. Why are you yelling at me?
It's because I can't figure out my gun.
Yeah, I'm yelling at the other guy. I didn't want to switch to that weapon.
How do I make my guy stand up? My guy won't stand up.
Screaming at me all the time.
I am the average old guy playing video games when we do that. That's fun. Oh, this is who said it. Brandon on Spotify. I have to say, I like that you're including Doug more on the show. See, I shouldn't even be reading this. Would be interested in what his top fives are for financial stuff after hanging out with you and that other guy. Yeah, nobody else wants to know, Brandon. Nobody wants to know that. We're vetoing that.
There's a reason they've got me next to the water heater, Brandon.
Balls is back. Balls, who identified that he is a man. So he's aptly named. But Balls said, when Len Penzo was here for the Squirrels Gone Wild episode, talking about retirement resilience a couple weeks ago, just before the break, and going through these things that derail retirement, Balls says, to be honest, planning for a serious medical illness never crossed my mind in my early 30s right now. I think, OG, when you think about these ahead of time, I love the fact that Balls is in his early 30s and he's thinking about the things that could go wrong now, because then you start thinking, I think better about your financial plan, knowing well ahead of time. I feel like people concentrate on these things the day they retire. Oh, well, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, it's not even the time after you retire that it's the issue. It's the time between 30 and retirement of a major illness or injury that really
good point. That disability.
Yeah.
He says, thanks for the info and a great episode. Love listening to your episodes while I work through Excel spreadsheets. Len Penzo's awesome. He's also an engineer. So he and Len on the same wavelength. People will hear Len's going to be back, I think, in about 3 weeks, joining us for another Red Line. Yes. Well, no, there are two parts to Len. He likes the engineering part. Doug loves Squirrels Gone Wild.
Oh, can't get enough of it.
That's where he's at.
I pay for that.
All right. Thanks a ton to everybody for hanging out with us. If there's somebody that needed to hear about alternative investments and why we think they're bad, or they need that money catalyst Leisa Peterson brought, please tell a friend and forward this to them. Get them on that same train that we're on, Stackers, on financial literacy and making sure that our community gets the same great help that you get by hanging out with us. So thanks a ton. And Doug, you've got it from here, man. What are our big takeaways from today's show?
Well, Joe, first, take some advice from Leisa Peterson. To change your financial situation, first, you need to change your thinking. Creating money in your life means finding money catalysts to help you along the road. Second, alternative investments. My God, how bored are you? Seriously, go find a hobby or leave your investments alone. But the big lesson? Mom has absolutely no sense of humor. She didn't laugh at some of my best material. Check this out. What do you call a crying camel? A humpback whale. Wait for it. Here's another one.
No.
Here's another one. What do you call a camel with no hump? Humphrey. And finally, piece de resistance. How can camels live in the desert without going hungry? Because of all of the sandwiches there.
Oh my God.
Sandwiches there.
And you guys rag on my jokes. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me right now?
That's gold, Joe. It's gold, I'm telling you. Thanks to Leisa Peterson for joining us today. You'll find her new book, The Money Catalyst, wherever books are sold. We'll also include links in our show notes at stackingbenjamins.com. This show is the property of SB Podcasts, LLC, copyright 2025, and is created by Joe Saul-Sehy. Joe gets help from a few of our neighborhood friends. You'll find out about our awesome team at stackingbenjamins.com, along with the show notes and how you can find us on YouTube and all the usual social media spots. Come say hello. Oh yeah, and before I go, not only should you not take advice from these nerds, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Before making any financial decisions, speak with a real financial advisor. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and we'll see you next time back here at the Stacking Benjamin Show.
Short after show today, but Doug, you got your better half involved in a TV show.
I did. Yeah. I've been telling people about, whenever we talk about favorite TV shows and stuff, I feel like I always have to bring up the same 2 or 3 that just really hit me and have stuck as far as great series, great TV shows, streaming, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, I always talk about The Americans. I always talk about Godless, and I frequently talk about Fargo. And I think it gets amazing reviews. The critics love it, but I think a lot of people stay away from it because they're like, yeah, I saw that movie. I don't need to watch the TV version of it. There's almost no correlation. I still am a little bit amazed or befuddled why they chose that title, because other than happening, most of the stories and seasons happen in the upper Midwest, save one in Kansas City. It's not Fargo at all. And so I couldn't get her interested in it. We were looking for something to watch. We'd finished the thing. I'm like, let's try Fargo. And she just like immediately cut me off. No, not watching that. Yes, you are. Now I'm making you. And I know she liked I started her on season 5 because the seasons are so loosely connected. It kind of doesn't matter. There's a thin thread of connection between each of the seasons, but you don't need it to enjoy it. And I started her on season 5 because it's got some big name actors in it that you've seen before. John Hamm is in it. Jennifer Jason Leigh. Nobody knows how to say her name. She's an amazingly strong female character. Jennifer Jason's Leigh's character is, and so is Juno Temple. That's who we couldn't remember
Juno
her name.
Temple, Keeley on Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. She is amazing. Like the strongest female characters. I knew that my wife was going to like this, and she wouldn't admit it after the first episode she watched, but she's like, okay, let's watch another one. And then by the end of
She's exactly like us. She does not want you to be right.
Right. She absolutely does not.
Whenever Doug recommends something to me, I'm like, yeah, it was okay. Just to mess with him.
You know how I could tell she was into it? She put her phone down.
Say you're in 2025 without saying you're in 2025.
Exactly. She limited herself to one screen while we were watching. But Juno Temple's a total badass. She does an amazing Minnesota accent, maybe arguably better than mine.
Marginally.
And then by the end of the second episode, she's all in. Now, she just wants to binge it. It's so good. I would strongly recommend to people Fargo. Start with season 1.
I thought you were saying Keely wanted to binge the accents. By the second episode, she's into it. She's full on Minnesotan.
Yeah, but there's
full on.
There's some good action, great fight scenes in it, but it's just a great drama storyline as well. It's kind of intricate. There's something for everybody, something for the whole family.
I'm loving Andor, the new season, just finally started that. And I love how gritty it is. It is for people that, marginally like Star Wars. I would say it's a great place to start because less of the magic and the Jedi stuff and much more of just the underdogs trying to get the job done. Gritty, very, very, very good, good series. So just
if I'm going to search for that, is it AND/OR?
It's just ANDOR, right? Make up your mind.
And or what? Star Wars and or Star Trek.
They could have called it either or. Would have been fine. Andor's really good. And then on my own, I'm finishing up this season of the Formula One series. The latest season of that.
Drive to Survive?
Drive to Survive. Your spouse likes that too.
Yeah, well, we lost the enthusiasm in season 3 when they stopped sort of manufacturing drama. Season 1 and season 2, I think we found out they were kind of creating stuff that wasn't there. But that was the
so
good
great,
stuff.
though. Did you see though the team principals talk about that? Christian Horner going, there's been all this kerfuffle about us supposedly manufacturing drama. They ask him on the show. They go, there's supposedly been, all this stuff about it. And Christian Horner goes, really? A TV series that manufactures drama? I would have never known. And then Zach Brown, the head of McLaren, says kind of the same thing. He's like, color me shocked.
I never saw this coming.
I would have never known. While Max Verstappen, the driver, was like, I'm not taking part because you're making me look bad. And now Max Verstappen takes part again because he kind of gets it.
Well, because if it opens up the American market to F1 racing, everybody wins.
Look there's 3 races now. There's 3 races in the United States. Just a few years ago, there was one that was barely hanging on.
What, Miami, Texas, where else?
And Las Vegas.
Vegas,
yeah. Vegas at midnight, where they had accidentally that manhole cover that wasn't on securely.
About that. That's right.
Carlos Sainz drove over it, and imagine how much those cars cost.
Yeah.
I got to say $10-15 million. Maybe I'm way off. We did a trivia question about that, but how to wreck a car in 30 seconds flat. Oh, gee, what are you watching?
Mostly the Weather Channel.
The Weather Channel.
It's an active weather season right now. What can I say?
Oh my God. It's going to be 3 degrees cooler tomorrow. The barometer tomorrow.
Winds coming out of 3 degrees.